Recently, I played Naraka Bladepoint. This is a multifaceted game that has both a single player campaign as well as it is primarily based around its Battle Royale mode. There are multiple versions of it. You have casual versions, you have quick matches, and you also have ranked matches above a certain level. It has everything that you would come to expect from a free to play game these days. It has all sorts of insane cosmetics. However, I will say that a lot of the stuff in Naraka Bladepoint goes much deeper than most other games that I've played. Generally, every single aspect of your character is somewhat able to be changed, and every single weapon has certain things that you can do cosmetically to it, as well as you can get various different heroes unlocked, and you can learn to play those heroes, as well as each of those heroes have different, of course, skill sets that's specific to them that you can also customize as you go along and upgrade your character. Now, of course, all of this is made drastically faster with the Battle Pass, where you unlock characters, cosmetics, and all sorts of stuff. However, generally, for the most part, none of it is overpowered as fuck, and you can still have a pretty good time playing as far as I can tell thus far. The main thing that I would say here to focus on is, of course, the fact that it is a melee-based Battle Royale. Of course, most other battle royales are not melee based and are primarily range based, and here there are some ranged elements. You do have things like guns, bows, cannons, etc. However, most of the time that is just for chipping down at the last bit of health on an enemy, or generally speaking, just trying to hit somebody down from somewhere. Overall, you usually want to go in with a sword, and of course you want to continually upgrade your loot as you go through. There are different little spots. They're not really chests, but there's just these little areas that you can open up, and they release various different things from weapons to armor. And then on top of that, when you kill somebody, they drop an armor suit that you can then go open up, and you can pull their coins as well as their armor and any of their weaponry. For the most part, with armor, for example, if you just click on their armor, if it is better than yours, it will automatically equip, and for the most part, it seems to automatically equip whatever the top tier gear is. There is a level of challenge when it comes to trying to keep everything organized and making sure that you have your playstyle down, because for me, for example, I started with having a ranged weapon as a secondary and my sword as my primary, and then I switched over to having a quick dual sword as one of my weapons, and then I had just a secondary sword that was a much stronger like two-handed sword, and so generally that allowed me to be able to still continue to hunt down and kill players even when I run out of durability on my weapons, which let me touch on that here. There are, again, multiple different aspects to this game that are very much involved, I would say. For example, when your weapon does break, it does have durability, you have to then repair it, and you have to have weapon repair kits. If you don't have those kits, you would have to either get a new weapon or just use your ranged or whatever it is that you have on you at that time. I would say the repair can be kind of frustrating. However, by the end of it, it goes usually pretty quickly depending on your weapon. It usually only takes 2 to 3 seconds. And then on top of that, by the end of the match, it's fairly easy to find repair kits. You also have armor dust that you can place on your armor to heal yourself, and you do have to have armor before you can utilize that. On top of that, you also have berries that heal you and other stuff that you can keep in your inventory. There are things called soul jades, which are basically these green things that drop when you either open up certain things or kill people, etc. And those all have various different perks that they add to you. You have a soul jade bag, which you can actually purchase upgrades for at the store. However, you start off with a limited amount, and you get various things that upgrade your attack damage, distance damage, make you move faster, various other aspects. Now, I just mentioned that there is a store. The store I found to be actually very interesting. You can get everything from weaponry to healing items to, of course, buying back somebody through a rebirth stone. And on top of that, you can also purchase upgrades to your weaponry as well as your soul jade bag. You can get extra slots for both of those things, as well as just extra slots in general in your inventory so you can hold more stuff. I found that this was really useful, and on top of that, I found the coins to be pretty easy to come by, and I actually found more often than not, I would have extra coins that I wasn't going to use, which means that as long as you can figure out your playstyle and really figure out your hero, everybody has a pretty solid chance at playing. I would say one of the things that I noticed in my initial matches is that a lot of the time early on especially, people seem to separate from their teams when they're not very good, and so if you have a team that you're communicating with, you can just stick beside them, and for the most part you can just shred people as they come at you one by one. Now of course when you do have a team that's communicating and is actually playing together, that becomes much more difficult. However, I found that for the most part the lobbies that I got into had a good range of players. Some of them were good, some of them were bad. At some points I questioned whether they were bots or not, and at other points I was just like, oh yeah, this is clearly a pro player. So generally speaking, I think that it doesn't feel as sweaty as Call of Duty, and I don't know if that's because it's just coming to the United States, but it was nice to be able to go into a game and just kind of have some fun with it. Now, I would say that the best part of the game overall, and I've given you a pretty detailed description, I believe, but my favorite personal part of the game is the actual movement system. You can do everything from climb trees to climb mountainsides to double jumping, wall running. You can do pretty much anything you can think of in order to get across the map as fast as possible. This makes it so that you can have some really intense chase downs where somebody might be running away when they go to try to heal. However, because you can climb pretty much anything, you can pretty much quickly scale right after them, and a lot of times it'll turn into a jumping battle where you have to parkour in order to chase after them, which can be fun, or of course you can use your ranged weapon. Generally, the main thing that I like about this is that no matter where you're at on the map, you always have a decent chance. The entire game feels very, very balanced in this way, where it feels like no matter what, I always feel like there's something that I can do to better my odds at winning, and if I don't do that, then it feels like it is on me, and I feel like I can learn how to get better at the game. Particularly because in things like Call of Duty, for example, you might find that if you go to a bad landing spot or you get a bad circle, you're not going to be able to, say, go across this mountain in front of you or something along those lines, and then you get put in a really bad position and killed quickly. Because of the way that you can scale everything in this game, you never really have that issue, and you can always continue to push on forward. The entire game is really fun, and I do recommend giving it a playthrough. So far, I'm actually enjoying it so much that I would give it like a 3 to a 3.5 out of 4 stars. But if you guys have played it, let me know in the comments down below. Do you like it? Do you not like it? What do you like about it? What do you dislike about it? All that good stuff, again, in the comments. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram. That'll pop up during the outro, and the rest of our links are down in the description too. We have gaming sessions for gaming content, movie and Smokin sessions for movie content, CrazyRocky for variety content, and the Try Podcast is our podcast channel. All right, guys, I'll see you all in the next one.
I spaced out of my head to the depths of the universe. It's a spell or a chance just to open up